Lights up bright, dope, Campbell Stadium is alive. Seminoles rise and fight to survive. Helmet gleam under that blazing sun. Florida State where champions run. Seminole sideline 365. Feel the roar, we're coming alive. Garnet and gold in the battle we thrive. This is our house where legends arrive. Turf torn up under Seminole feet. The war chant pounds to the heart's own beat. Chop through the noise like a storm in the sky. 2025, we reach for the high. Seminole sideline 365.
Welcome back to another episode of Seminole Sideline 365. We're happy to be here. We're talking about the post-game. Florida State defeats Kent State 66-10 in a complete blowout. 2 games in a row, complete blowouts. Record-breaking day for Florida State in this program. Thank you for being with us, Jalen, Mike. Great to see you guys.
Hey, Jalen's in number 1 again, Mike. He just nipped you. It looks like, it looks like he just nipped you coming in, but you both kind of hit the portal here, our comment section, about the same. So that was pretty damn close, fellas. But thanks for joining us.
Yes, thanks everyone for joining us, whether you're watching recorded or live. We appreciate you watching. And a game that we kind of predicted, we kind of expected, but you never know once you start playing the games what's going to happen. But the trend continues. Florida State continues to play above their competition, not play down to their competition. Offense continues to roll on.
They're playing to the expectation. They're playing to their standard, playing to their expectation.
Which in the past they haven't done that. Last year and years before that, sometimes they would not perform blowouts. And this year they're playing, I think, somewhat above the expectation. When you put up 700 plus yards on the team, I think you set program records, 775 yards of total yards today. I think that's firing on all cylinders and above. You're going out there, you're performing, and the backups are performing. When they get on, there's no stalling once second string and third string gets out there. Your third down efficiency is 9-10. I think you have to be very happy. I'll put up some of the stats here on the screen so you guys can see them as well. But overall, a truly, historical day in terms of some program records being beat against Kent State. It is what it is. But in terms of efficiency, 37 first downs, 9-10 on third down efficiency, 775 yards. Like I said before, probably could have been more. I think you probably could have had 1,000 yards if you really wanted to today. If you didn't just start running the ball and really kind of, slow it down in the fourth quarter. Almost 500 yards of rushing today, which is
incredible. That's a record, right?
I believe it is a record.
It has to be.
I believe the rushing is now. So, the rushing I believe is a record, and I think it's in the last 25 years, maybe. At least a 700 yard plus game is, I know, a record in the last 25 years. But the rushing, I'll have to make look that up. But I mean, this is crazy. The things that stood out to me, other than the yardage and the points and stuff like that, is I think overall Florida State in terms of the first half, when it really matters when you have your starters and stuff like that. I thought we played a really clean game. Offensive line played clean. Wasn't any holding penalties, anything like that. Like I said, when the starters were in there. Same with the receivers for the run. Because for this run game to work, for those explosive plays to happen, there can't be holding on the edges. There can't be holding with the receivers. You got to play cleanly. You can't get called, because those get called back. Then you're in the whole 15 yards. And that takes away those explosive plays. But every time you execute those cleanly, you got great blocks off. The receivers block their butts off. And that allowed for guys like Danzy to break off big plays. Castellanos break off big plays. So I was really happy with the penalty cleanness of the penalties, and that's kind of been a trend for the last 3 games, and that's something we're going to need to continue to happen the next going into UVA on Friday. And then turnovers. I thought, once again, 1 turnover today. I thought the Kent State guy made an incredible play. And that's the linebacker I told you guys about on our Thursday show. That kid that I said to watch out for. That guy made a hell of a play. He just jumped up, two-handed it, and ran it back. So I thought that was a hell of a play. I didn't think it was necessarily a bad play by Tommy. I just thought it was a better play by the defensive guys. So turnovers I thought were clean today. No fumbles by the running backs when you're running the ball a lot. And I thought just just overall an explosive offense. Before I get deeper, what are your initial thoughts? Just general overview.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those games you just kind of sit back and relax and just look at the things you just talked about. I mean, it was firing on all cylinders. They played to the standard, as Mike points out. I think that's the thing you have to do against these teams that are what I call payday teams.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to them. I mean, obviously, it's a reality for them. I mean, they come in, they do get a unique opportunity. They get a couple of their players a unique opportunity to put something on tape for other teams to look at if they jump into the portal or they get some interest. Florida State could call that guy up, and say, hey, why don't you come in and compete here next year?
Yeah.
The main thing I said in our preview show was we got to get out of this without any injuries. Okay. And obviously late in the first half, it was 35-7. We have Thomas Castellanos, limping around, coming off the field.
Yeah.
That's the type of thing that we've talked about, and I've stressed, important to this team. I mean, this whole season is based around this quarterback as well as certain other key players.
Yeah.
So that was a real fright in a game like this, very Jordan Travis-like in a game that, he goes down in, which was, I think more important than this game. But it appears that Tommy Castellanos' ankle or lower leg is going to be fine.
Yeah.
He jogged out, but obviously he wasn't going to play anymore. He was done anyways. Probably should have been done a little earlier before the injury, but anybody can say that.
Yeah.
Now, what's more important is we hope and pray that the player from Kent State,
yes,
that went down hard, he kind of went up in the air, and we looked at it several times on the TV, and he hit the side of his head coming down.
I think it was a concussion. I think it was probably a concussion.
Side of his neck. And they took all precautions, which the medical staffs should do. He was carted off. The players on both teams gave him a good round of applause. The people in the stands also. And so our hopes and prayers go to any player that's been hurt in any of these games, and hope he'll be fine. But hopefully we got out of that with no major injuries. Are you aware of any other injuries besides Castellanos?
Not that I'm hearing. And once again, I'm not an insider, as my title says, but not that I remember seeing, not that I've heard so far. Obviously, I think things will trickle out. There's anything serious, but other than Tommy, I didn't notice anything significant happen on the field, or that I'm hearing about so far. So other than that, and like you said, we saw Tommy. I think he wanted to make that known and seen that he was sprinting out. So I think that's a positive sign. And I think overall we come out pretty healthy. Once again, offensive line looked pretty healthy today, come out pretty healthy as far as it looks. Defensive line in the same way. So I think you come out, if Tommy's clear, which it seems to be, you come out pretty much 100%, which is good. And you get a lot of guys. You got a lot of guys in today, which is also good. You got time in. You put up 35 points in the first quarter, which allowed you to start getting guys into the game come the third, fourth quarter, and even the second for the defense. So happy about that. But like you said, I wasn't happy obviously to see Tommy go down. But I'm glad he got to get back up. And I know people will question, like you said, should he have been in? And it was still the second quarter. You don't want to take a guy out too long because you don't want. You do have a big game on a short week on Friday.
And they've been,
You want to keep guys in a rhythm going. You don't want guys sitting on the bench, and because that's the thing I was thinking about during the game, and we didn't really discuss this during the preview, is that I think Friday night's game against UVA will be a four quarter game.
Oh, yeah.
We haven't played a 4 quarter game.
Well, they're playing right now, I think, right? They're playing
they're
Stanford.
Yeah.
Well, which will be an interesting game to keep track of.
Correct. Yeah. But this team hasn't played a 4th quarter game in a while, right? The starters haven't had to go deep, full throttle 4 quarters in a while. And so, I get the decision not to pull guys too quickly because, you're going to need to, that stamina, that energy, that level of play, you're going to need it all 4 quarters against UVA, in my opinion.
Well, they're going to need it for the next several weeks. I mean, you've got UVA, you've got Miami. That's going to be 4 quarters, obviously. You got Pittsburgh. You got Clemson. I mean, the rest of the season is going to be 4 quarter matchups as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely. And I would be doubtful that we're going to blow any of these guys out. I think there'll be games that the starters are going to have to go most of the way. There'll be a few guys get injured along the way, and guys are going to have to step up and go in. But I do enjoy watching a lot of the new guys get in, and they get to put some stuff on talent too. Johnson's brother, plays the tailback. Yeah. And for some reason, I really love that guy. He's like a little fireball, man. He's like just a bowling ball who comes through there, and he's given 110%. And, that guy, I think he could be a short yardage guy. I really, really do,
Well, yeah, if we didn't have so many, like the guys who really impressed me today, I think, Sawchuk, if he didn't already solidify his position, I mean, he's your bowling ball. He's strong in the hole. Sure. He's your short yardage guy, but he can also break off. The only thing with him is that he doesn't have, I wouldn't say, quote unquote, home run speed, but he can still break off a 25, 30, 40-yard run, and he can go between the tackles. So I love that guy. He had 11 carries for 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. He could, if they kept him, if he got 20 carries today, he probably could have had 200 yards if he wanted to. But he's been a great addition to this football team by far. And he shows you what he can do every single day. And I think he'll be able to keep that same type of play up against greater competition. He's just that type of player. The other player who's really stood out for me, and he stood out for everybody, but is Micah Dancy, showing his hands today, and that he's not just a gadget player, an end-around guy, but this play right here.
That's a crazy
play. That catch.
What a call.
And it was an underthrown ball by Tommy, but the ability for him to come back and catch that between 2 defenders, concentrate, keep it on his hands. I mean,
that's hard to do. It's hard to do.
But you need guys to be able to make these types of plays in the big. This wasn't a big game, but showing that playmaking ability, the ability to do that is what this team's been missing. Like last year, we need playmakers like this, and I think Danzy's showing us he's not just end around guy. He
can stretch the field on these guys, and they have to respect his speed. They know who he is. Now they have to respect his hands. Some guys, speedy guys, can't catch the ball, but other speedy guys can. Okay. And a guy named Bob Hayes, who was an Olympic champion many years ago, came in and went into the NFL after a brief college career. And, he was a speed demon. He played for the Dallas Cowboys during their championship days.
Yeah. So I'm really liking Dancy, and just he's a strong guy too, but the ways they're using him and the ways he's able to impact the game, and he like you said, he caught a couple of balls, not just that one, but he also caught another long one. So like you said, he's showing teams that they have to respect more than just his running ability on the end arounds. He's a vertical threat with his hands, and I think he's going to be a real.
Well, when you have Danzy now, you have Deuce Robinson, and you have Squirrel White. And I don't think Squirrel White played today, right?
No, he didn't play today.
No, I didn't figure he would. Yeah. But you have to respect their speed to get past you. So that loosens up that box for your running game. Mm-hmm. These all come together, for the play action, but you got to be able to stretch the field. The other team has to respect that speed for you to do that.
Absolutely. And that's a great point. And like you said, and they're showcasing that they can. I thought LaWayne McCoy, was good to see him get some play. Boggs, I thought, caught some good balls, getting him in motion. We saw him catch some first down play, but you got a lot of guys involved today. I think that you had you had 16 receptions. You had 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, almost 12 guys catch balls. Say Landon Thomas got a touchdown, like we were talking about in the preview. I wanted to get him involved. It was one catch, but he got one touchdown, got him involved in the ball game. So yeah, you got a lot of different guys involved, which you expected, but it was good to see guys on the field. Running backs, like you said, I think we had over 5, 10, we had over 12 guys, I think, run the ball today. Which is crazy. One thing that was surprising, and I thought he was registering for the year, was the quarterback, was Jalen King. It was interesting to see him get on the field because you didn't see him against East Texas, right? But he could still redshirt if he doesn't play more than 4 games. So, but
he's probably not. You're not going to see much of him the rest of the way. That would be surprising when you already have 2 guys ahead of him. I'm not sure why I would, do that. I just don't think he's going to have the ability to do that. So
I think it was just because he's probably faster than Brock and Kevin potentially, and maybe fits the system more.
I think he more mirrors Tommy Castellano than the other 2 do. I just don't know how good an arm he has. I think he can scramble. I think he can run. I think he's quicker, a little bit more agile than Speary or Brock Glenn. But
yeah, I agree with his passing ability. I think Kevin or Brock are probably a better true passer. Even though Kevin, I think, has some wigability. And I even text you. I like the way Kevin carries himself very well. He executes the offense. You can tell he's not nervous in there. I mean,
no.
I think he can make the throws. Accurate. It was on the money. It was accurate where it needed to be. And he showed that against East Texas too. He put him in there. He made the passes. Brock just doesn't look it to me. He just, I don't know. When he throws the ball, it just, the first pass he threw was short. Like, he throws a short ball. I mean, I don't know. And I think that's why Kevin is probably the number 2 right now. If I had to bet it, that's what you saw today is probably the depth.
No, he's been number 2 for the last couple of weeks.
I think that is the true depth.
I think they see him as a future starter. Yeah. I think and that's a message to Brock Glenn that he's probably the guy unless he plays himself out of that role.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
That's how it works.
That's how it works.
That's how it works. And the only thing I would say too, let's not read too much into these stats.
No.
I think the stats clearly show that the engine is well oiled and moving forward. And now we're going to find out. We're going to really find out in the next 4 weeks what this football team is really about. And it'll be a very interesting next 4 weeks to see where we come, because after the Alabama game, which was game number 1, and it was even a surprise to us. Let's face it. But we had domination in that game. Now we have a chance to see, can we go out and beat a couple of teams on the road and a couple more teams at home and some good teams. And we're going to find out. But we got to stay healthy. And, I think it'll be interesting. It won't. This game got, kind of boring. But I think that's where we are. We didn't have any significant injuries besides Tommy. He looks like he's going to be fine. I don't think that's going to be an issue. He's going to start that game against Virginia. Right. That's how that's going to roll out. And I think that's kind of the wrap on this game. I mean, I didn't see anything else we should be worried about. I mean, there was the 1 touchdown Kent State scored early. What was your impression of that?
Once again, it was. I think it's one of those plays where you're like, well, they got overexcited. The guy stepped up, and it was Jerry Wilson and Kirkland, and they just let the guy get behind him. I think they thought they over pursued, and they tried to, they got excited. Oh, we can make a play here, and then the guy slipped behind him. And I think it was a bad play, and you can't. You got to trust your eyes, trust your defense, and stay in your spot. But I think they got caught. And they got scored on, and I don't think. No. I think those type of plays are.
Yeah, no game's going to be perfect. No game.
No, and I don't. But these are the types of things that you have to clean up before you get against better competition, because there's going to be teams that are going to execute plays like that better, or going to drop less passes, or going to break more so you have to be prepared for those things more, because they see that on paper. UVA sees that on paper. Clemson sees that on paper. Miami sees that play on paper and sees, they over pursue on plays like that. Let's put a couple of those in our playbook next week, right? And see if we can catch them again.
Right.
So that's now on paper that, if we catch them on that type of play, they may over pursue it, trying to be over aggressive. We could maybe get behind them a couple of times. So that's something they got to clean up. But it's good. You got things to work on out of this game. And that's the purpose of this type of game. What things can we work on before we get into the ACC schedule? And I think that's one of those things. I think there's some things with, I didn't think the tackling was perfect today, but those are all things you can clean up. I think they tackled perfect against Alabama. So,
okay. I think the important thing is to know that we're coming into the next series of games fully staffed, in no significant injuries, and we're ready to play. There will be no excuses. There'll be no explanations. And we are coming off 2 cream puffs and a bye week. And so now you're going to really be playing the best teams in the league. And this is our run to get to the ACC championship. And it's very doable. I think it's very doable to get to the ACC championship now. But we'll know more after 4 weeks.
Yeah, I think we'll know more after Friday, because Friday is not going to be an easy game for Florida State. UVA is going to give you 4 quarters, and Florida State hasn't played 4 quarters in a while. So.
And we say watch that game tonight. Watch that game. We won't be on the air here too long, but watch that game and see what you think of UVA.
Yeah.
And it will be on their home court. But there were some other interesting games today. UNC got blown out by Central Florida.
I mean, UNC, I told you, they're not a good
team. That is a disaster.
What did I tell you to begin the season? I said they may win 3 or 4.
It's a disaster, and this is not going to add to the legend of Bill Belichick. That's for sure. Then another big game tonight to keep an eye on is underway right now, I believe, is the Miami-Florida game. That's going to be an interesting game from the Miami standpoint. See how they perform against a team that's on the brink. Billy Napier's team is on. He's on the brink. He's on the hot seat. And then there was another interesting game, and that was Dabo Swinney lost. He's 1-3 now, and people were leaving the stadium, and they got beat up by Syracuse, a decent-looking Syracuse team.
And a backup quarterback.
And a backup quarterback. Their starting quarterback got hurt. So, there's some interesting things going around the league, and it says to us, if we're this good that we're showing now, in all statistical categories, we've got a chance to beat all these teams. Really, it's probably inexcusable not to beat these teams. Really.
No,
So that's my thoughts on this.
Yeah, there's no, Miami will probably be the most talented team we play the rest of the way, in my opinion. And, Clemson on paper has it, but they're just not all together right now. There's something broken there. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's...
And I don't see a reason why we couldn't go into Clemson and beat Clemson. I don't think they're going to get it together by the time we get in there. I just don't believe it. Klubnik looks inconsistent. I think Dabo he had a bad presser. I'm going to watch this presser. I tell everybody, go on YouTube, watch that presser tonight. You don't have to play it now or anything, but just watch that. That should be very interesting as we go through the week here. I tend to watch that on our opponents, and he's feeling down. He was emotional when they were playing their what's their name? Their song at the end of the game.
Yeah,
he was having problems with it. Maybe I don't know what the hell's going on there, but maybe this whole thing of him not going to the portal over the years is starting to backfire on him. He's under a lot of stress.
Yeah, he is. But like you said, Florida State will, if they play to their standard, and they should be in every one of these football games. So
they look confident. All the guys on this team look confident now, and I think the guys in the trenches look confident. The offensive line looks confident, and they look like they're ready to take on the next challenge up this hill.
But like we said, and it'll be interesting, is that this team has faced a tough team in Alabama and stuff like that, but they haven't faced that adversity moment yet, whether it's being down a couple of scores or 7 points or going in the fourth quarter tied up. Like, what we haven't seen this team in an adversary moment yet. and how they respond to that. And that'll be fun and interesting to watch, because that's where teams, that's how they take the next step. That's when they say fourth quarter down 7, can we push it, make the comeback? Who steps up in those type of moments? Because so far they've dominated Alabama, they've dominated these 2 games. But when that adversary hits, who steps up? How do they react to that? Especially on the road. Now they're on the road next week. It'll be interesting. It'll be a fun discussion.
Do you think we were able to check off the box on punt returns today? And
no.
I don't either. I don't get. I don't know if that's going to affect us down the road.
It will. It's lost yards.
Why do you think we didn't make more progress on that today?
I don't know. Some of them they just let bounce behind them when they should have just fair catch them. Some they didn't fair catch, and then he ran backwards. I don't know what's going on there. Norvell needs to talk to the special teams coach and just say, what the hell is going on? Like, there's something. Like you say, it hasn't gotten better. It seems to even get worse this week.
I thought we'd be working on it on these 2 games in the bye week, but I don't.
There's plenty of punts. There's plenty of punts going on. So, like you said, you're right. But it looked, to your point, it looked worse this week for some reason.
It'll be interesting to me to see if during the presser after the game or the pressers during this week with Norvell, if anybody asks about it. Are we the only guys making note of it? Are we wrong?
Yeah, but if you're looking, like you said, in these games, you're looking for correctable things. I think that's got to be one of them. I think there's some lost yardage on the punt return game, especially, and that's something you should try to clean up. But outside of that, like you said, pretty perfect game. I mean, pretty perfect game. And I think Thursday's discussion about UVA will be a fun one, because you want an interesting game, you're going to get an interesting game. It should be fun.
Yeah. And this will be one of those games for UVA at Charlottesville, and you and I, we've seen games there.
Yeah,
it's a unique little setting, great campus, great little city, college football town. They'll pack that stadium, and I remember the very first ACC loss Florida State ever had on a Halloween, and when we thought that Warwick Dunn had made it across the goal line about eight yards out. I mean, the ball was on like the 4. He started from his 8 to get in, and he was called short of the goal line by an inch.
Yep.
We lost the game. It was Bobby Bowden's first loss in ACC after like 20 or 30 wins or some stuff like that.
Yeah,
it was incredible. And they stormed the field. I'm not sure this is a storm the field moment for a UVA team, but they haven't had many games where they storm the field. It could be.
As Ellen said, UVA put up 700 yards last week, and they're on track already. They've already got 150 yards offense and 14 points. So Florida State defense is going to have to come to play next week after not being tested really the last 2 weeks. So they're going to have to come ready, prepared to play.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to watch their offense against our defense.
It is.
Can we get them off the field?
That, and it's going to be the defense is not going to – because I saw the couple plays today. Like, one time Jared Wilson got beat because he tried to play the ball versus the man, and he overplayed it trying to anticipate where the ball was going, and they threw it behind him, and the receiver caught a 15, 20-yard play. Now, he did get an interception because the second time he did anticipate it correctly, and he got the interception. But I think when you play these kind of lower-tier teams – you can read the quarterback, and those guys get aggressive because they're like, okay, I can this guy's telegraphing plays, and I can be more aggressive on that. I think that can lead maybe to bad habits in the way how overly aggressive you get. And I think that's kind of on the trick play. I think they expected that guy to run out and just kind of run up the sideline, and then he dumped it over them. So they tried to make a play because they're like, you kind of underappreciate the opponent a little bit, and so I hope that doesn't roll into UVA. It shouldn't. I think they should really respect UVA in this gameplay, which they will. But
no. Listen, if you're playing to your standard, you're not really playing against the other team as much as you're playing against a standard. They're not going to overlook anybody on their schedule.
I agree.
They're not in a position to do that. I don't think they have a team built to do that. But they do have a team built to beat people and can beat the rest of the teams on this schedule. Yeah. I do believe that now.
They do.
Okay.
That doesn't mean games won't be close. That doesn't.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. No, if anybody thinks we're just going to walk in and blow people out 66-10 every week, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. You know, as Dagby said, it's like the 30th anniversary of that loss there in Charlottesville. You know,
yeah.
I think that's what she's referring to, and I think she's right.
Yeah.
And she does say Warwick Dunn was in. I mean,
well,
it
we'll
was
review it on
devastating.
Thursday. We'll review that on Thursday. We'll play the video.
Yeah.
But that's something. Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up for Thursday, because UVA will be harping that on their players this week, and that'll be a big thing for them. 100%.
No doubt. And it's going to be a wild atmosphere down there on Friday night.
Yep.
And this is a short week. This is a short prep week now.
Yep.
So everybody's got to, and I'm sure they've been putting stuff in for UVA at this point.
Yep.
And it's going to be a wild run over the next 4 weeks.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it. Stay tuned for our preview show of UVA coming up this week. I think we may do it maybe Wednesday to try to avoid Thursday football games, stuff like that. But hit the bell, hit the notification so you know when we do it, that live show. And stay tuned to us. But we appreciate you guys watching, whether live, recorded. We appreciate the support, the likes, subscribes. It's an awesome, great win today for Florida State, 66-10. In another blowout fashion. But we will see you Thursday or Wednesday.
And we continue the battle of who gets in the comment area first. Jalen almost got nicked by Mike, but Jalen and Mike, Dagby's lagging behind there. Come on, Dagby. L&M, you're kind of, but Jalen and Mike still battling it out. It's whatever name pops up first, okay? They both came in at 734, but boom, Jalen's up there front. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
All right, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy some relaxation, and we will see you next week for the preview of UVA. Have a good one, guys. Go Noles.
All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Seminole sideline 365.